Let's get to our big three tickers of the day. We have the FAA uncovering yet another problem with Boeing's grounded 737 MAX jet. Walgreens is seeing a big boost from pharmacy sales in its latest quarter, and Ford is announcing major layoffs as it moves to revamp its business. Well, first, let's get to the latest on Boeing, and it's another major setback for its 737 MAX jet. Now, taking a look at shares, the stock is down almost 2% today after the FAA discovered a new flaw during a simulator test. And it's an issue that the company must address before the grounded fleet returns to the air. Jared Blikre is here. And Jared, I was going through the reaction not only of the stock today, but also what Wall Street was saying. So we're seeing the decline in shares. Stock is off almost 2%. I was going through a Bank of America note this morning, and they were saying that, hey, this actually doesn't change the timeline for the 737 MAX to get back in the air, at least in terms of their expectations. They're still expecting that 6 to 9 month delay. What do you make of the reaction that we're seeing in the stock today? Is it a little bit overdone?
Well, I don't think the reaction in the stock is overdone at all. It's not even 2%. And if we look at a year-to-date chart, we're going to find that it's still above this critical $360 level. So this is a level that it lurched to when we had the second round of crashes here. And this has been the demarcation line. So we can see this acted as support after the second crash and then as resistance here. And I'm frankly surprised that we didn't go back down to test 320, 300. This reaction could have been a lot worse if we had congressional hearings about Boeing. But the fact is, Boeing spends a lot of money around Congress, lobbies both sides. It's almost too big to fail. And too big of an important company, not only to the U.S. in terms of manufacturing and our defense systems, but also the Dow Jones Industrial Average, which would be much higher today were it not for this latest fiasco here. And I call it a fiasco because we wouldn't even know about this had we not built the flight simulators, because 346 people died in the first place.
Yeah, Jared, that certainly is very true. And Boeing, the worst performer in the Dow so far today. What does this mean, though, for airlines? Because we're seeing some of the airlines that have the 737 MAX fleet in their fleet, they're actually pushing off their now expected return of this plane. So obviously that could impact profits down the line.
Yeah, well, Bank of America, as you mentioned, their base case is this still is going to take about 6 to 9 months. This latest episode probably going to be whitewashed. This relates to a similar mechanism whereby the trim tabs in the back of the plane come up and they cause the plane to lurch forward. So even if it's a simple fix, the original problem has to be vetted. I think we've seen a lot of the pricing come out, especially in terms of Southwest Airline, which has the greatest exposure to the MAX jet. But one of the interesting statements here was from the Boeing representative himself. He said, this fix is going to reduce pilot workload. So in other words, when the plane doesn't lurch forward for no reason whatsoever, that's going to take some workload off of the pilots. No kidding, right?
All right, Jared, thanks so much for breaking that down for us.